Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I am so excited to have Debbie here on the line with us today. So welcome, Debbie. I know that you have some really exciting news. You won the Entrepreneur of the Year with Asta. And, you and I started talking quite a few months ago about your product. And anyone who knows me knows that I am always on the hunt for amazing solutions to bring to the TIS members. And I absolutely think you have one of the most helpful, awesome products that I've seen on the market today. And so welcome.
Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate that. And thank you for having me on today. Last week was pretty exciting at the Asta convention. And I don't know, I can't see everybody because we don't all have videos on, but if any of you were there, the way I started off my talk to the group is what I'm going to go through with you guys here in just a few minutes to demonstrate TAToolkit. But just to give you a little bit of background, I have been a travel advisor for 8 years. I own a Dream Vacations franchise. Before that, I worked in the corporate world in a manufacturing company where I was the continuous improvement project manager. So that's kind of where my background is coming from on creating this solution. And it was basically because my frustration when I first became a travel advisor was with searching for resorts, all-inclusive European plan, whatever, it didn't matter, but looking for exactly what that client wanted, as well as especially, well, I'll go to that in a minute, but is there anything else, Sheila, you want me to do before I start demonstrating?
I just think it's amazing. And, I know that as a new advisor coming into the industry, it's incredibly difficult to know which resort to look at, or how do I find this information about a particular property. What are the questions actually that I should be asking my own customers? One of the things that I like about your tool is not only for the searchability and all of the features that you're going to show us today, is that it plants seeds in the minds of travel advisors to ask particular questions of their customers. When you're new, you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know what to ask. Who would have thought that I needed to ask beds together or apart on a cruise?
Right.
So it's those little tiny details and those little things that we learn along the way that make us sound knowledgeable, like we have authority. Mm-hmm. And so when you have a tool that not only makes you look really great to your client, but makes your life easier, I think that's a huge win. So I think that in my mind, that's one of the great pieces of information that I think advisors should take from this is don't just look at it as a tool that's going to make your life easier, but also as a guide to help you frame your questions better with your customers.
Yes, that's an excellent point, Sheila. Thank you. And in fact, we do have, with the way TAToolkit is set up, you can click on several different items based on what your client wants. And we have what we call a sidekick tool that goes along with that. It's a PDF that you can print off. You can use that as a qualifying sheet with your client to gather their information, and everything that is set up in the same format as the TAToolkit search part. So once you get that filled out, you can get through the search in honestly about 3 minutes. Which is way better than ours.
I love it. I love it. All right. So I'm going to let you take it away because I know that everybody has been, waiting for this day and to see your platform. So I already gave you sharing our screen sharing permission. So go ahead and take it away from here.
All right. All right. Can you all see? Somebody.
It's there we go. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So this is the login screen. I just wanted you to see what it looks like. You do have to log in. There are 2 levels. There is a free level 1, which gives you very limited access, and I will try to remember to point that out as we go along. But the level 2 paid membership is what I'm going to demonstrate today. So on your main homepage, we have these destinations. These are just quick links. So there's other ways to search through this, but these are kind of the most searched destinations so that you can do something really quickly. So I'm just going to click Caribbean real quick, just to get us started and then show you how to search. So when I started my presentation with Asta last week, my opening lines were, my client wants a swim out suite in an adult only all-inclusive anywhere in the Caribbean but Mexico. They want to play beach volleyball and a swim up bar is a must. What resort do you recommend? So we've all seen these posts on Facebook, right? People are out there looking for this information. So the risk you run with doing that is, number one, it can take some time to get a good answer. Number two, you're not getting a complete answer because there may be ones out there that aren't shared a lot. Maybe they're not being used a lot. Maybe it's a smaller boutique property, so not as many people have experienced it. So this will give you like all of the answers so that you can really make a good decision. So I am going to show you, there is a search or filter option over here on the left. And you can click down on the countries and choose them one at a time, but that's not my favorite place. And let me move the screen out of the way where I can see all you guys so I can see my search filter. This is the one I prefer right here for a couple of reasons. Number one, everything is just laid out there for me all at once. I don't have to go click, click, click. Number two, there's a search option right here so that I can look for, like I'm looking at my Sidekick and I see that this is called a swim out suite, then that's what I can start searching for. So the first thing I'm going to do, my biggest frustration was that I could only search one destination at a time with a tour operator. So if the client said anywhere in the Caribbean but Mexico, do you know that there's 29 other search options beyond that? So if I select all the countries in the Caribbean, you remember I already clicked on the Caribbean up front, right? So anything that's not in the Caribbean, like Belize is Central America, those are grayed out. So I want to click on, oops, I selected all the areas instead of all the countries. Silly girl. Easy to fix. So select all countries, but we said no Mexico. So we'll unclick that. And let's say this is a US based travel advisor. So we'll unclick Cuba because they're sending US citizens. All right. And this is available for Canada as well, which is why we have Cuba in there. So adult only, it said, adult only. Now you see I've got 2 options here. This is the trickiest part of TAToolkit. I think it's pretty straightforward otherwise, but this part is a little tricky. If I click adult only right here, there will be no family friendly resorts show up. If instead I click adult only here, and then maybe they just want to avoid the screaming babies in the restaurants and kids running around the pool, so they're okay with 16, 17-year-olds, then I can click adult only with some teens allowed, and those are both under optional. The good news is that when the results come back, the adult only and the adult only with some teens allowed will be at the top. It will still show family friendly ones because these were only optional, but they will show the family friendly ones as well. I'm going to go back and say they did want adult only and they wanted a swim out suite, right? Got to do that right. Yeah, swim out. All inclusive. And that's required. They definitely want an all-inclusive. want to play beach volleyball. And I think I said a swim up bar, right? Swim up. And that's everything. Click apply. And in just a few seconds, in alpha, so they're sorted first in 100% match. We do go down to an 80% match, and I'll show you that in a moment. But so you can see all the items that you requested. They're all in green. So this one has everything you wanted. And we go down to the 80% match. So all of these match, and we only do 10 at a time just so it loads quickly. And they're listed in alphabetical order in order of match. So all of the 100% matches will be in alphabetical order. And then when you get down a little bit further, okay, here we go. This one does not have swim out suites. So you can see that it's pink, supposed to be red. It's pink and kind of has a strikeout on the font. So you'll know at some point it may be that there is nothing that has everything your client requested. So this will give you the opportunity to say, hey, we have this one. It has a swim out suite, but no swim up bar. This one has a swim up bar, but no swim out suite. So you have to choose which one you want. But as you can see, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, St. Martin, more Jamaica and Dominican Republic. These are all in the Caribbean, Bahamas, except Mexico. Okay, so that's everything the client requested. Once you get the list and you want to look a little bit further, you can click on it. And you're going to get like a main overview photo, a description, which is directly off their website, the airport, the number of rooms, the number of pools, number of restaurants and bars. The lead-in price, that's going to be the lowest price for a double at the lead-in room and the lowest time of year. So that's just kind of an overview. If there are any pros and cons, which I don't have any on this one, they would be listed right here. You know what? Let me go to one. I'm just going to pick one that I know has a review so I can show you secrets. Oh, I think Akamal has one. I should have double checked, but there we go. So we've got some pros and cons here. Some things that travel advisors have said, either from their own experience or from that clients have come back with. Reviews. These are travel advisor reviews only. And I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be easy to collect these because on Facebook, travel advisors are constantly sharing their fam trip or their stay. And I've not had as much luck getting them in here, but I've started reaching out individually, asking them to put them in. I've also asked them, may I copy and paste your review in? So if you see a review that says it's from Anonymous X, that means I copied and pasted it with their permission. And all of the reviews are in the same format. So if you know, oh, I want to find out about the beach, you scroll down and the beach and pool is going to be in the same spot every time. The amenities. So these are those searchable boxes that I clicked on a little while ago, but it's all of them, okay? Not just ones that you chose. For example, yes, they have pool volleyball and paddle boards. They do have the beach volleyball. So it's got everything that the client could want. The map is just connected to Google Maps so you can see where the resort is. Exchange, do they have exchange privileges? So it lets you know where else they can go. And if it's reciprocal, it's noted here, as well as if other resorts can come to this one, that's in a list down here. Files is if we can find fact sheets, resort maps, menus sometimes, and those things sometimes change, right? So they might build on to the resort or make some changes. Menus change all the time. So we put a date in there. That date is either the date that the the product was created, like this resort map. If there's a date on it, then I'll put it. Otherwise, it's the date that we loaded it in there, so we can tell if it's older and needs to be updated. And then finally, details. This is one of the favorite places for many travel advisors. It's so frustrating to go to a tour operator only to find out, and do a search only to find out that they don't even carry that property. So this is a list of tour operators that carry the Secrets Akamal. And then we also have contact information for the resort. So one other thing I want to make sure I show you, these two buttons right here will create a PDF. That one will create one for you to print. The envelope will create one that is attached into an email that you can send directly to yourself or to your client. And as you, if I can pull that down, as soon as it loads the preview, you'll see it doesn't have the pros and cons on there, because that is information just for you to make you look like an expert on this resort. So it does list some basic information, the description, the main picture, all those details about the activities and stuff. Nothing about which tour operators carry it, nothing about the contact information. But all the way at the top, you'll see my photo and contact information. That's my travel agency. That's not TAToolkit. The only branding for TAToolkit is this copyright down at the bottom. All this other stuff is if you load your photograph and all your contact information into your account, then it will show up on here for your client. So that is the main thing on that. So that is what I like to call our core product. That is the thing that really got me going. I do have some other stuff to show you, but I'd really prefer to see if there are any questions about what we just did first.
I love this. So far, we've had a lot of great comments. This is awesome. This is great. You know, the level of detail and the level of specificity that you have in this system is really mind-boggling. So let's see if we have any questions, and feel free to unmute yourself and show yourself on camera if you like, if you have joined us via Zoom.
One thing I'll share while you're looking at those questions is I do have, and I did not show you, but let's see if I do a search, I will just show you real quick. At the very last thing, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to say one question we have is if you have a business partner, can you share one account so that both people can access this toolkit?
That's funny, because Sheila and I were talking about that before we started this call. At this moment, I do not. I do have it at a price point that I feel is very fair for individuals. Right now, it's $12.95 a month. So I wanted it to be inexpensive enough that even the newest travel agent could afford it. If you can drive through Starbucks, shoot, what, 2-3 times a month, then you can afford this. So no, I don't at the moment, but Sheila is encouraging me to look at doing something like that. So I guess that's the answer.
And do you have an annual option, or is it monthly only?
We do have an annual option. So $12.95 a month, $36.95 a quarter, or $139.95 a year. And there is a free 7-day trial so that you can try it out before you buy.
And I know that you guys are continually enhancing your product and adding to it. You know, tech build is, you know, mind-boggling expensive. It is absolutely crazy, the amount of effort and manpower and thought that goes into it. And I love that you've kept the price point reasonable for others. But as I had mentioned to you before the call, you may want to consider, you know, some host agency solutions or things of that nature. You know, you don't know what you don't know until you start getting into it, just kind of like us at TIS.
Well, I
Okay,
do.
I'm gonna let you show everybody what you were going to demo here, and then I will see if any other questions come in.
Sounds good. What I was going to show you is that we do have a beverage brands option, because one of those things I see all the time is the husband only drinks Bud Light, the husband only drinks Crown Royal, the wife needs Diet Coke, those kinds of things. So those are difficult to find sometimes, but we are making every effort to do so. And as a matter of fact, our current phase is in contact with the resorts themselves, setting up their logins so that they can go and monitor their listing and make sure that it's 100% accurate. They can update it if there's a change, but we do have a schedule where we go and check with them every 6 to 9 months to make sure it's still accurate. But my encouragement to them is also to fill out these brands. We all know that sometimes they run out, sometimes they change, that kind of thing. So I just always say that TAToolkit is a place to get your list of places to start with. We have 1,750 resorts in there right now. This will help narrow it down from that number down to a manageable number for you to start and double check. So if it gets down to he's got to have Bud Light or he's not going to be happy, that's where you want to say, okay, here's my list to start with. I'll contact the resorts to just make sure that it's still the situation. And as Sheila said, we are always adding new things. Right now, one of the searchable things is not how many rooms the resort has. So you may have a client that says, I just want a really small resort. I love large resorts that have plenty of space and plenty of people to meet. So searching by the resort size is something that we are adding. So I've got people working in the background. They're adding that information right now, but I don't want to say use that as a searchable term at the moment until we get that done. So that's why I've got coming soon on there. So Sheila's right. We are always adding new things. And most of the things that we add come from people who send me an email and say, hey, it would be great if you had this, or they pop in the Facebook group and ask. So yeah, I didn't have all the best ideas, but I love it when people are building on it.
So what is coming for TAToolkit? I know you have some things on the horizon. I'm not sure if you're ready to announce those here, but you know, what is the next step? What is the next phase? What's on the roadmap to continue to help travel advisors?
I have an idea about a calendar where you can say, you can put the information that says, I booked this client on a Norwegian cruise, and put, you know, their sail date and all that stuff. And then you press a button and it'll automatically populate the calculator with when their final payment is due, when it's time to make their dining reservations, all that kind of stuff. But right now, we are going to just finish adding some locations. So I think I mentioned that we're working on Hawaii in the background. The plan is to have that finished by the end of this year. And then next year we would start on other South Pacific islands, you know, Bora Bora, Tahiti, those kinds of things. It's interesting because I have been asked several times in the past couple of weeks if we're going to expand to Europe. And my answer is, I'm not sure yet. I do want to get some key locations in the United States, maybe some spa resorts in Arizona, kind of a thing, and get some domestic travel options in there. But I do have a few hotels in, mainly in places like Mexico City or something like that, where they may need to spend a night before flying out the next day. But other than that, I am just focusing on resorts, not hotels in general. That's just too broad.
What about some of the smaller boutique properties? Because there are a lot of really great properties throughout the Caribbean, Central America, a lot of the popular destinations for folks traveling from the United States. And it's really hard for travel advisors to find those particular properties if you're not experienced in how to search for them, or you maybe don't belong to a particular consortia that promotes that type of boutique level experience. You know, as you and I know, preferred suppliers aren't the only suppliers out there. It just means that they have an arrangement with your host or consortia. But there are thousands and thousands and thousands of small properties, small tour operators that are out there. So, I mean, this I think would be really helpful for travel advisors to have, rather than always directing their clients to a larger resort experience. Maybe it's offering something different. Is that in your mind or kind of on the roadmap as well?
It is a lot of, so I did start with the major tour operators and found out what they carried, and that's what we started with. But we are starting to get into some of the smaller tour operators as I find them, as well as smaller resorts that you just need to book direct. In fact, I'm finding several of those in Belize that you just need to book them direct, and they'll pay commission. But so yeah, we're adding those as we find them. And if you guys have one that you think needs to go in there, you're not seeing it, send it to me, because we'll just get it added right away.
Yeah, I find that in certain Caribbean destinations, you know, that are not resort focused, it's difficult to find out what's available there unless you've traveled there a lot. Like, you know, I travel extensively throughout the Abacos and Exumas. I have for almost 30 years. I love it. There's no big resorts there, but there are some smaller properties. And you have to go there to know it. Belize is another place. You know, there are some of those. So yeah, that would be fantastic. And Hawaii,
Also, go ahead.
and Hawaii, like you said, adding Hawaii is great.
I'm also working with a lot of the tourism board members to get information from them on the properties in their area. So, you know, K Kitchens and Robin Basso for Hawaii, just some things like that. Yeah. So I'm working with them and saying, hey, here's what we've got. What are we missing?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So Donna wants to know, if she selected the monthly plan during her free trial, can she upgrade to the quarterly or annual at the end of the free trial?
Yes, you can. So just before the end of the 7 days, go into your account and edit it and just make the change to change which plan you want. I think if I don't have those instructions in here, I will get them. But I think I have those under the FAQs here under the more section. How do I upgrade my level? Da, da, da.
So remind us,
Yeah,
Debbie, you have 2 levels. Can you please clarify for everybody the 2 different levels so that we're all real clear here?
Yeah, I told you I'd do that, and I almost always forget to do so. So we'll go back to that Secrets Akamal listing. If you are on the free level 1, you have access to this main overview page, and you have access to the reviews, and that's pretty much it. So you don't have access to the search. You don't have access to, I think there's access to maybe the first part of the amenities, but then the rest of it's kind of grayed out. Yeah, that's it. So if you want to see the tour operators, that's not available. The files aren't available. And like I said, the big thing, the search is not available. We also have several items under here that would not be available. For example, one of the things I see all the time is transportation. Who can I have take my clients from the airport to the resort in, you know, St. Thomas? So by destination, we have a list under here, and these are not transportation providers that I have Googled to find. These are transportation providers that have been recommended by travel advisors. So I know somebody's used them. I know they've had a good experience. Obviously we have our disclaimers, but you do know that they have been vetted by some other travel agents, and the ones that I see recommended over and over.
I can probably answer this one for you, Debbie. Amy asked if there's a spot for vaccines if required. And I would venture to say that you don't delve into vaccines because those are country specific, and this product is product specific.
That is almost 99% correct. Okay. So we do have, if you're talking about regular vaccines, like not the COVID vaccine. Okay, I'll put that aside for a moment. So if you're talking about regular immunizations, no, we don't have anything as far as that goes. There's a great product. He was a competitor at Asta. It's called Runway Health. And I recommend you go look at that, Runway Health. But under here, we have destination COVID restrictions, which I'm going to have to change pretty soon because they're almost all gone. But there is no way I could have kept up with all of the changes, especially in the past few months. So by destination, we just have a link to their website so that you know that you always have the latest information directly from the source.
Thank you. Okay, we're running out of time here. Actually, we're a little bit over. So if anybody has any last minute questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. Can you also, let's see, it's just TAToolkit.com, correct?
It is.
TAToolkit.com. You can sign up for a free 7-day trial. And then from there, choose your option for a monthly, quarterly, or annual pay. And one of the other things too, I kind of wanted to go back on this before we signed off here, Debbie, is the reviews section. If we all really appreciate tools and resources like this, it's really important for us as business owners who are developing these resources for you to receive your input, to receive those reviews, to give us feedback. So many of us, like Debbie and I, who have started our businesses, have started it with a shoestring budget on our own and have continued to grow and invest to bring you these amazing products. So for those of you that are using it or who plan to use it, please do pay attention to those reviews, because we rely on the reviews of our peers to make some decisions in our clients' travel planning.
Right, absolutely. And when you get in, while you're typing in those last questions, the chains and the tour operators are both very similar, but we have the list, for example, the AMR collection. So we have some of the similar information that we had for the resorts. We've got contact information, all the resorts that they carry, files if they've got them, like have you guys seen the Sip, Savor, and See chart that shows all the exchanges between the AM resorts? It's pretty awesome. So anyway, and the tour operator section is very similar.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it. This has been recorded, so it will remain on our Facebook page. I will also put it up on our YouTube channel. And thank you so much, Debbie, for being here today. I just can't wait to see what is next with your product. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their week.
Thank you again, Sheila. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.